The Louis Diaz podcast.
I actually wouldn't. I've interviewed, I don't know, it must be like 10 comedians now. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised anymore. But yeah, still, I was at a show at the Comics Lounge maybe a month or two ago. And
I'll be performing there soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know. They haven't replied to my emails, but they will book me.
They don't know that, but yeah, I'll be
It's
there.
happening.
Well, it's good. I think you like manifesting. You're into manifesting. Just say it. Just put it out there in the universe, man. Of course you'll be performing
I've
there
been doing
soon.
this. I've been doing this thing where, like, my mate, he's like emailing people on my behalf, telling them he's my manager.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crack up.
Nice. Yeah, take a photo, please. Do you want us to look and smile? Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Candid.
Yeah. Cool. A candid one. All right. Try just pretend.
look normal.
Pretend. Look normal. Look normal. And don't do anything weird. Yeah, I like that. That's a fucking good move. I respect that move.
Got to get creative, mate.
Fake it
You know.
till
These people, they get
hate this term.
inboxes. They get inboxes just filled with like open micers asking for spots all day.
Yeah.
You know, so
I
if
manage
you're like,
Sean.
yeah, this is my client. You know, it's like just it separates you from the pack.
Yeah.
At least that's the. I mean, they still didn't reply, but you know.
Yeah, it's like if you make up a like Montgomery Burns and Co legal at gmail.com and just is someone you're having a gripe with, you just send them an email from that.
Yeah, you get a lot of. You get.
My
I've noticed.
client.
I reckon the best thing about being a lawyer is that shit. Is just people like knowing you're a lawyer and you get afforded like an undue amount of respect in certain circumstances. So like since I was able to tell people I'm a lawyer, I've like always been able to get properties that I apply for as a tenant, like straight away. Just little shit like that, you know. It's stupid, but
Thank you for the tip.
yeah. So if you're ever struggling to get a property, just fraudulently claim to be an attorney.
Is it fraud?
Yeah. It's but it's minor fraud, you know.
Is it fraud?
It's like having your mate as a reference on your CV. You know. Yeah, it's technically fraud, but I mean, you know, who's gonna care really?
Who's checking?
Don't quote me on that one. When you asked earlier, you're like, does your employer care? It's like that's the sort of shit they care about. Like, you're on a podcast encouraging people to commit fraud.
It's only fraud if they act on it.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And how are they going to prove it was you? Yeah. I listened to this episode of the Louis Diaz podcast once and yeah.
Imagine that as a defense, eh?
Yeah. I'm actually thinking of using it. I need to apply for a new flat soon.
Do it, man. Just Louis Diaz and Co. Legal
Actually,
Services.
that's what I wanted to talk to you about as well. I'm changing the name of this from podcast to show. Yeah, because of that reason. I think I was talking about this with Joel earlier or something, or at least some people in between Joel and you. I was like, when people think of podcasts these days, they think of something that's just ultra niched. Like the word podcast infers.
Yeah.
Now it's inherent that it's just about a single topic. And this is not about a single topic anymore, man.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, actually.
Except that was not a cheap sign, and I will have to replace it with a new sign.
I mean, that's a bit of a doozy.
That's, I mean, I'll hang that up in my room and use the red light for sure.
Yeah.
Red light therapy.
We call that a sunk cost, you know?
Yeah.
You can't, there's nothing worse than wasting your time ruminating on sunk costs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you have a big night at the cast and you wake up and you're like, oh, God, I shouldn't have spent that money. It's like, nah, sunk cost. Don't worry about it.
Relatable. That's
just
too relatable.
Cost of doing business, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it's been fun. It's been fun evolving this thing. You know, like I said before, you were the first one I had in the laneway. Then Caleb was the first one I actually recorded. Then I moved on to the 360 camera, and the evolution of it is I'm actually enjoying it now. Like, it's funny, and maybe you can reflect on this yourself and you know, give me some insight into your perspective on it. But like, for a long time, I was reluctant to really change what I was doing, you know, because it's audio only and it's this and that, and I think I've got it down pat, and you know, I'm a little bit scared of introducing video because it's going to blast my workflows out, because it's going to be dealing with massive data files and stuff like that. All of that's true, by the way. I'm just not scared of it anymore, and like releasing that fear of trying something new. Like now that I've released that, it's like I've been actually enjoying the process of watching this podcast grow and change. So like the sign, having to replace the sign doesn't bother me because that's just going to be another part of that evolution that I'm actually really loving.
Yeah, and that's also like, I don't know, it's great to document evolution of shit. You know, it's like you see like, you ever seen those like photos of Microsoft in the 90s and they're in like a tiny little office or whatever, and it's like, yeah, it's cool to have like data collected of like the journey, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I'm very conscious that I don't document my journey enough, like on social media. So at the end of last year, I wrote an article. It was like 2,500 words, just literally outlining the change just last year alone.
Yeah.
Like this is where I started, where I was about to quit. Like I was thinking about quitting. And then this is everything that happened to the point where by the end of last year, I'm interviewing professional comedians, like with a 360 camera in a laneway, releasing these episodes at ultra high definition on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's sick.
To go from just about to throw in the towel to doing that.
Were you like just about to throw in the towel when we met at Butter Love?
Yeah.
Buzzy.
I had one interview lined up with Outback Mike. Which
but he was in the Outback.
Which I needed to see through. Like I had already committed to it. Although I did fuck him over. Like one day I just decided I was too tired or I was hungover or something like that, and I messed up our schedule.
Right.
And then he had to reschedule it, and I couldn't get him in for another like 4 to 6 weeks. I made that one happen. And then when you and I did this, that was a pivotal moment. Where I was like, holy shit, this can be fun again.
Sick.
Yeah. So you're like...
I mean, that's the point of doing it, right? It's like...
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing that I've been talking about a little bit lately is like that whole thing of like doing everything online, the internetification of this podcast process. Because my very first episode, I recorded live in person with the guy on his back porch out in Belgrave, right? We had these lyrebird sounds there. It was beautiful, right? But it was in person. And then, you know, the pandemic and all that and all this new software and technology comes out and suddenly I'm doing everything on Zoom. And for some reason, it just felt like a grind, you know, like doing a Zoom call, then editing this thing.
I can see how it would feel like I mean, I imagine the funnest part of the podcast is the filming of it, is this part, you know, or the rest of it sort of admin.
100. And I mean, like, you know what? Actually, the editing's gotten more fun because of the film as well.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
And I'm getting creative with it too. It's cool. So I can cut into the laneway. I'll cut that in. She just nods and goes, yeah, he cuts into the laneway. I've seen it. But, you know, like it's getting a lot more fun. So I'm trying to figure out like what's this going to look like at the end of this year? I'm trying to do 40 eps this year.
Yeah, I mean, if it's changed that much in 1 year, try and do 40 episodes.
Yeah.
Sick, man. That's awesome. We live in the era of content. You know, you gotta do something. Well, you don't have to, obviously, but I don't know. As a comedian, like, there's a lot of comedians trying to make content, and you know, obviously, because everyone wants. It's like an attention economy, and like, you know, if you want to be able to sell tickets to shows or whatever, you gotta have an online presence most of the time.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to know what to do, right? Because a lot of people, you know, you see quite a lot of comics doing like skits, for example.
Yeah.
And then heaps of people try to do that, but they do it in a half-assed way, and it's sort of shit and doesn't get much attention.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's difficult to, you know, because hopping on trends is not ever the way to have like lasting success in anything, you know. That's sort of why I was like leaning towards more like writing and shit now, is because like that's more aligned with my interests.
I think it'll supplement. It'll supplement your interests as well. Like it'll supplement your stand-up, because when you're writing, you get into this flow state. Like I know when I write, I get into this flow state where suddenly, like I'm practicing being more articulate with my thoughts. Like the whole process of writing is me just sort of, it's the pen and paper. If you're writing 1,000-word article, what you're doing is you're increasing that part of your brain's power that is learning how to be more articulate and thoughtful and creative around stuff. So it's going to supplement your comedy as well.
Yeah, definitely.
What was I going to say though? Oh yeah, I think I told you off air that well, because this has this whole unique look now, and what I'm doing is I'm releasing I'm not sure if you've seen any of the latest eps, but I'm releasing them in ultra widescreen. Yeah. So this will capture you and the sign, right?
So,
and the laneway.
Yeah.
Like the field of view is like that, And
So mean.
so it has this really unique look and feel about it that's not homogenous. You know, like when you see podcasts these days, you see couches and mics and stuff like that. And so I think part of the fun for my guests is how I come in here, they sit down, they put the headphones on, they go, "Whoa, this is sick." William Wong had the best reaction.
Yeah. He's funny.
Like he sat down in his app, he sat down. I'm like, "Oh shit, I forgot to turn on the neon sign," and he's like, "Oh yeah, turn it on." I turn it on, and he goes, "Oh fuck, look at that." It's just fun, and that's what, like, going back to your point before about releasing that clip that you liked. It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. Like, do the work that you love doing. Just everything else will fall into place. It might not be overnight, but like
that's like, I reckon the more it feels like work, the less people are gonna like it.
Yeah.
I reckon if you're creating something and you're not enjoying creating it, people will not enjoy watching it most of the time. No matter how much work you put into it. I don't know. I feel like people can instinctively tell whether something was made with love or not. You can tell with food. You can tell with like any sort of content. And so like,
that's so true.
I see a lot of comedians doing skits that you can tell is not made with love. They're not enjoying it. They don't think it's that funny, but they're like trying to get picked up by the algorithm. And it's like, people can always tell. I've done that myself.
Yeah.
And I thought they would do badly, and they did do badly because it's not authentic. Like, you know.
Oh, I wonder what that's like. I mean, I don't have an example of that. I think the only way I can relate is when I've used to teach people how to skate on St Kilda Beach, right? I did free lessons for a whole summer. And I met this chick once who was in social media, and she goes, "Oh, you've got to set up a Facebook page for this." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, does everything have to be on Facebook or Instagram?" Like, I'm reluctant. But it turns out it was a good way to keep like a journal of it all, that whole experience. So I don't regret it. Fuck, I don't know where I was going with this point. Oh, but then suddenly, because I've got this, you know, this thing now I have to feed with content, I was like, oh, I better go and do some lives and stuff of me on the beach. And it was kind of like pulling teeth. It was kind of like, hey, everyone, there's me talking to the camera, you know, like not loving it. Whereas now, like, this is just something I would do with a mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just having a chat.
There's always a degree of work to go into anything. You know, no thing that's ever been created has been created with 100% passion. But I feel like if you're like halfway through making something and you haven't enjoyed any of it, you should probably give up on it, because it's going to be garbage anyway, you know? Like, I don't know. No good novel was ever written with disdain from the author, you know? Like, no one was ever like, I've got to finish this fucking story that I don't think, you know, it's like because people genuinely.
I'm sure a lot of shit novels that no one's ever heard of were written like that. Yeah.
Someone just disciplining themselves, like, I've got to finish this, and then they send it to a publisher, and they're like, this is horrible. Or like, what are you doing?
What is your favorite book? Have you got a favorite book?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Are you much of a reader?
I'm big on novels. I think the novel's probably my favorite art form.
Yeah.
Shantaram is in my top 5.
What's
it's
that
an
about?
Incredible novel. It's this Aussie guy actually who is like on the run from the police. It's based on his life story. He like breaks out of jail in Australia in the 80s and goes to live in Mumbai, and he joins the like mafia in India. He's like a white Aussie guy. It's incredible. It's like based on his life.
That's wild.
It's an amazing book.
Should we get him on the pod?
Yeah. Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I'd say that's probably the best novel ever written, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah,
that's a big call.
It's amazing. It's a masterpiece of the English language, and yeah, I personally love Charles Dickens.
What is it about?
In a nutshell, it's a story about like a guy who wishes he could stay youthful forever, and he gets cursed, and this painting grows old while he stays young, and it talks about his like soul deteriorating. I explained it terribly. It's like a poetic masterpiece. Every word of it is beautiful.
Wow.
Like the way that it's written is like, the language is just amazing. Like it's And
now I'm learning something about you. Now it's all coming together as to why your article was such a good read. You've been influenced by good writing.
I'm big on books. Yeah. But I'm more into fiction, to be honest. I like novels.
One of my favorite books I've ever read, The Hobbit.
Yeah, I've never read J.R. Tolkien.
Have you seen the films?
Yeah, obviously. I'm fucking Kiwi, mate.
This is a classic example of the book is so much better.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, not to say that the films weren't grouse. I love the films.
Yeah.
Right? But like, the book is just so
he was a genius. I've read like his Wikipedia page. He like made up languages and shit. He was one of those people that's like just a rogue genius that sort of lives in their own head, you know.
J.K. did that with the Harry Potters. She made
Really?
up the school and everything. She made up.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like she would have lived in fucking Hogwarts when she was writing those books. She would have fully
She wrote it in a cafe.
yeah, that's crazy. Like she would have been dreaming of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
She you know
She would have been
like,
her imagination would have been like thinking
in
about
that world, you know. And that's why that comes through in the pages of those books. And it's like it's I reckon the novel is the elite art form. It's the best in terms of like
Yeah, 100%. Like if you write like everyone, and that's why like you get all these adventurers, you get sports people, you get politicians. Like in the peak of their career, they all want to have that bestseller book. You know, everyone wants to have a best-selling book.
biographies go hard as fuck. Love a good biography.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I haven't read enough, but I was gifted once the Keith Richards biography.
Yeah.
And I'm a Stones fan, and I just, oh man, such a good read.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a great story, eh?
Just real. Just so real. There was a couple of lines in that really blew me away, where he was just talking about like the reality of being a rock star and like what it's like to, sleep with like whoever you want. And
It would be really because I reckon like the rock star thing, the thing that's separates it from like most other is like they're in bands, so you're hanging out with your mates. You know, it's not like
well, they hate each other sometimes.
yeah.
Keith and Mick hated each other for a long time.
I mean, that's not a surprise, but you know.
But they still played.
Yeah. Well, you'd fucking have to if you're the Rolling Stones. You know, you got to make it work. Like.
Yeah.
But
That's the thing about being a solo stand-up. It's like being a tennis player. Only got me to fuck up. Can't fuck the band up. I was talking about that with Joel earlier. I was like, I think a band's identity is its members. Like when someone dies, like when they replace that person that dies, it's not the same band.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know what I went on that
They
tangent.
often fail after one person leaves.
A picture of Dorian Gray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm gonna need to get some novel recommendations off you.
I've got novel recommendations coming out my ass.
Yeah.
Down and Out in Paris and London, George Orwell. That's another. That's in my top 5. I'd say. I love that book.
Isn't that where he's homeless squatting or something?
It's funny. It's like a real funny read. It's just like him talking about like being a bum. Yeah, I read it when I was in uni and I could relate because I was living on like baked beans and shit. Like just living in a van eating like cans of baked beans. I was like, damn, the bro gets it.
Actually, one of my favorite dishes is still like
That's gonna be
a
yuck.
ribeye steak.
Oh.
Like seared on both sides, practically blue, right?
Yeah.
With garlic and fresh Cajun seasoning just on top of it.
Yeah.
And baked beans.
Okay, that's fucked up.
With oregano run through it.
That's seriously depraved.
What? That's a high quality steak I'm
Baked
talking.
beans and Cajun on blue steak.
Yeah.
Mate.
So good.
That is fucked.
Oh, wait till I make it for you.
That's
Why don't you judge it once you've tried it?
You're like those Americans that put fucking ice cream on their fried chicken, bro.
Are
Like,
you kidding?
That's the I put that in the same category.
That is not the same.
Baked beans with steak.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, bro, you have please. Oh, okay, I'll make this for you one time.
I won't leave. Nah, I would try that definitely.
It's very judgy. I feel judged.
But I reckon you can have like there's people say like.
Did Nina know that you stole 2 of her things to bring here today?
Yeah.
Or did she make them for us?
No, she made them the other day coincidentally, and I was like
hey, babe,
well, because you were like bring in a snack or whatever, and like the only snacks that I'm truly sentimental about are all like New Zealand things that I can't really get over here.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, so I was like, I'll just bring some home baking.
Nice.
And also like I don't know.
I cut you off there. What were you talking about?
Can't remember.
Food.
Oh yeah,
You
I reckon
judging.
you can be right or wrong about food. You know, people say that it's like taste is subjective or whatever.
That
but
is
it's
so
like,
true.
You can be
Taste
right
is
or wrong.
subjective.
Like if you know,
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and my steak.
there
and
is objective
beans-
beauty. You know, we've lost as a society. We've lost our ability to acknowledge the existence of traditional beauty, and it's the reason that, like all the buildings we build are hideous as fuck. Think of what like the ancient Greeks
true.
would view of our modern society. It's like we have all this incredible technology, and we just build these hideous skyscrapers or these god awful like dwellings that are just like detached, like identical houses that are with painted fucking brown.
They look gross.
It's like honestly, like our cities are hideous.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we've lost our concept of what is beautiful.
it became more about function than form.
Yeah, exactly. And
Didn't
it's a shame, man. It's like you know, all of our ancestors used to build fucking pyramids and these beautiful giant statues and all this stuff. It's like I don't know of a single like building in the last like 50 years that's been built for the sake of it, like people just wanting to be like, this is magnificent. Look at it's like no one does that anymore.
Yeah, I think they built
It's horrible.
the Opera House in Sydney for like that.
The Opera House is pretty cool.
Also, like I was in there last night. I was in the Forum Theatre last night,
Yeah.
and I was looking around in there going, "Wow, this place is majestic. It's beautifully like decked out."
I mean,
in
there are nice buildings here. Like I'm not, but like
Yeah,
as
I know what you mean. You're talking about modern structures. This isn't modern. Like the Forum's old.
Mm.
It's probably been revamped or refurbished or whatever you call it, renovated and retouched. But yeah, I appreciate the finer things in life too.
Mm.
But you can be wrong. Like
You can be wrong about like when
okay, so you're telling me that I'm wrong about my steak and beans. Cool. I'll take it personally.
But like if someone, I don't know, if someone tries to say like trying to think of a good example here, like a McDonald's burger compared to a grilled burger, you could say that you prefer the McDonald's burger, but you're wrong. Like you
Not
are
for preferring
wrong.
it. You can say that you're wrong, that it's better. But you can't be wrong about saying I prefer it.
No, but your preference can be wrong. You could be like,
You're wrong.
you could be like,
You
I
know
prefer to have. There's legal cases about this. People like
Really?
There was a guy. No, not about this, but it's like the same sort of issue. Like, so you're not allowed in the UK. They had to have a case where it's like this guy consented to grievous bodily harm. I think it was a guy or a girl where they like cut off their finger, and it ended up in court because like they were like, can someone consent to grievous bodily harm? And the court ruled that they can't because like you're wrong. Even if you're like, I don't want my finger, you're wrong about that objectively. You can't like, it's not a subjective thing.
Someone's committing a crime
Yeah, it's
by doing that to you.
like if you consent to
mutilating you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bit hardcore. Hey, well, take us back to the burgers, bro.
McDonald's is the equivalent of grievous bodily harm, but like on
Cutting your
a
finger
lesser scale, obviously. But it's like you're wrong. You're wrong. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like most things are
Still,
not
I'm going to make you steak
subjective.
and beans one day, and I can guarantee that you will like it.
I'm ready to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
But
Like,
the
what's
only
the
point
worst
I
that
was
can-
making is like objectivity exists, and I think especially in the modern world we tend to forget that it does.
Mm.
And like
No, that's true.
Macca's is shit. Cutting off your finger is stupid. Being skinny is better than being fat. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, in most cases, yeah. Just if you get too skinny.
Oh yeah, right. I shouldn't have used the word skinny.
Being healthy is better than being unhealthy. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. You know what happened? You don't see much about that beauty contest anymore, Miss Universe. You don't hear much about it anymore.
I
Do
never
you?
did.
Yeah, okay. It was a big thing in the 80s and 90s, and
Right.
like 70s even probably. I wasn't around then.
I was
but,
in my dad's ballsack.
Your dad was probably in a dad's ballsack at some point back when Miss
I mean,
Universe
yeah,
contest.
that's how it tends to happen.
But yeah, like I think that particular beauty pageants have been particularly hit hard by modern refusal of the objective of objectivity. But then like they ask some of these contestants like what they want for the world, and they're like, I just want world peace.
I feel like the whole thing with beauty pageants is quite fucked up. I've never understood. It's one of those things. It's like I never understood. Like the weird thing to me is like how they interview them. Yeah. Is like why do you like it's supposed to be a beauty pageant, and then they're like so tell us what you think about like geopolitics, and it's like
I want to see
bizarre.
how smart she is too.
Have you seen that like clip of the like Miss Alabama or some shit? It's just like that she gives like the funniest answer. It's like, oh god,
Miss Alabama.
I think it's Miss Alabama.
Fork to her.
It's mind-bogglingly stupid. Like it's just complete gibberish.
Yeah, I don't know
It's
why
like listening
they
to Joe
asked.
Biden.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I don't know why they asked them questions either. I was like, can you just shut up and let them be beautiful? Like, look at them all.
I mean that's the point of
They're
it,
stunning.
right? Isn't that the point of
You
it?
know what I mean? Like, you're not going to pick the smartest one to win this contest. Like, let's just say.
It's like anything, man. It's like you don't have high jump at the Olympics and then you're like, all right, now sit a test. Like after it's like you all jump different heights, but like we're gonna test you on something else
That's
to win the high jump. It's like nah.
If you jump 2 meters and you jump 2 meters, we're going to settle this by asking you questions about history. Yeah, that's cooked. You're right. I'm just picturing that now. It's a good analogy. The Olympics, high jump. You know what? I'm wrecked. I shouldn't have gone out last night.
Nah. It's
What do you got on tonight? Are you got any shows? Are you doing anything?
Nah, bro, nah. Gonna have a wholesome. I brought kombucha, mate.
Shit,
I'm in my Zen era. I'm doing I did CrossFit this morning.
You kidding?
I'm bloody.
Actually, you're looking ripped, by the way. I saw those pictures of you on the internet that you put up about going camping or whatever.
No, it's my life's cyclical, right?
Jesus Christ,
so
man.
doing
Look at
no
those
beers.
quads. Look at those quads, bro. What the hell?
I got chicken legs, mate. But like, nah, you know, because Comedy Fest especially, like, I want to be like have my material prepped to a point where I'm like, I know I've got a perfect, like the set I'm doing is good as possible. And once I like know it, I want to be in like really good physical, mental shape.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna drink beers every night.
Really?
Yeah.
But won't that undo the good work?
Yeah, exactly. Like, self-destruction's so much fun, but you need to create a self to destruct. It's cyclical.
You have this funny, you know, what I noticed about you is you have this funny sort of relationship with self-sabotage.
Bro, like, what's the point of being healthy if you don't, like, you know, the way I view it is like, you're going to enjoy
self-sabotaging. I got sick of it. I was tired. But how good is it when you haven't done it in ages? That's the thing. Like, to me, it's like, you know, the reason I'm not drinking right now is because if I take like 2 months off, it's going to be really fun when I do drink, you know. I remember you talking about this.
Do the mahi, get the treats.
Yeah. Yeah, you talked about this in one of our 2 eps, that you like to just get off it and then go hard. I can't work like that. I can't, you know what I can't do? I can't plan that. I just do it. Like, I'll just go, I'm healthy.
That happens to me too sometimes.
And I'm like, I'm being healthy. And then I'll bump into a mate in the street that I haven't seen for like 3 years. And then suddenly we're at the strippers. Like minute.
I got a mate from back home who I haven't seen in ages who's in town. And he hit me up for a beer like yesterday. And I'm like, fuck. You know, because I'm on a good streak right now. But like.
How did you say no to that?
I didn't say, well, no, I'm going to see him. But I think I'm going to see him for lunch and maybe drink like a Coke Zero and just try my hardest. It's not the same. I know, but like, fuck.
You and I both know that's not going to happen.
There's always a good excuse to get on the piss. So you need to. You can't just. If you fold every time, like you're going to just be on the piss constantly because there's always a good excuse. You know, you have a mate like, oh, it's my birthday, or it's buddy. You know, you get a promotion at work, or fucking. You know, there's always something. All the time, it's just the nature of human existence.
How do you learn to say no?
I've had people like, because I was saying to one of my mates, I was like, I'm trying to take a break from drinking, and he's like, oh, but it's like January, like surely do it in like winter or something. But it's like in winter, there's going to be another reason. Yeah, you know,
festival.
It's like,
there'll be some.
There'll be like,
you'll be in Byron Bay. You'll go to Bali to
Like there's never a good time to stop drinking. It's always a good time to stop drinking at the same time.
Yeah, you know, because what they do in winter is they pull out the mulled wines.
Oh God, don't even get me started. Getting thirsty just thinking about it. Yeah.
I love mulled wines. I spent some good cash on mulled wines last winter.
Red wine to me is like, you know, we were just talking about like objective beauty. I reckon red wine is the best way to drink.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I get the most savage headaches after drinking red wine.
It's about the journey, not the destination, mate. There's nothing as satisfactory and delicious as a really nice red wine.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true.
Like if I could only drink one form of alcoholic beverage for the rest of my life, goddamn, Pinot Noir, Central Otago.
Yeah. I think I just learnt to drink wrong. You know, like when you're a young man, and drinking's just about how much you can smash down.
Yes.
And when you translate that over to wine, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like you need to learn, like you need to relearn how to drink wine.
But wine's also harder. You can't really scull it. You know, it's not like a beer. Like you can drink a beer pretty. You know, you can
challenge that.
You can, but like I don't know. It's
yeah.
What am I talking about? You can scull anything, but sculling wine's fun. I don't know.
Have you ever done a shot of wine? Would you?
No.
Would you be up for like you and me, 2 shot glasses, 1 bottle of wine, like just one day, just seeing how it goes?
I'd love to. That sounds like you know just how to get me, Louis.
At the pokies.
That sounds like a perfect.
At the pokies.
That's like Have you played Centurion?
No.
I don't know if that's like a common drinking game. We used to play it back home, where it's like you literally just set an alarm clock and it goes off every minute, and every minute you have a shot.
Centurion.
Yeah, Centurion.
Like you need to do 100.
You set it for 100 minutes. and but you get so fucked. Like if you drink beer,
100 minutes?
if you drink beer, like doing shots of beer, you can get through 100 minutes pretty well.
That's 30
But
mil.
if you drink anything other than beer, it's
Three-
like you black out basically.
Okay, so that if we're talking beer in a shot glass, that's 3 liters of beer in less than 2 hours.
Yeah,
1 hour and 40 minutes.
yeah, it's a lot of fun because like you'll be having a conversation
It's
and
actually not bad.
the beeps come around so quickly. So you'll be mid conversation and beep, everyone's like, fuck, do a shot. And it's good fun.
Yeah, we should do that, but with wine. Call it
Let's just do it with vodka.
half centurion. Yeah, last time I saw you, Nikki Barry was funny as hell.
Oh, she's so good, eh? She's fucking hilarious.
I never met a woman like her in my life. That woman is, honestly, I was on the floor laughing.
Yeah,
I haven't had someone
she's so funny.
put me on the floor like laughing, like hurting, laughing for so long. She's just savage. She's just like
Mate,
unstoppable.
I had to do a show recently where I went up after her, and it was like I was just like I fully had to say to the crowd, I was like, I don't know, like there's gonna be like I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to follow Nikki Barry, like yeah.
Yeah, she's a legend. And then we went to the pokies, and I'm disappointed. Tom couldn't get in with his scooter. I was looking forward to having a sesh with you because, like, I know you like them. I never play them, but I was like, well, I'll play them this one time I'm hanging out with Sean because he seems to know what he's doing.
No, yeah.
I took us to a shit
Know what he's
machine.
doing. The pokies is like as a habit, it's a similar thing to like like linguistically, like you'll start using a word ironically and then it becomes part of your vocabulary completely unironically. You know, that sort of like the pokies. Most people I know that have ended up like addicted to them or whatever. It's like it always starts as a joke. It's like we'll chuck a 20, you know, and it's like it becomes very much not a joke at a certain point, and it's difficult to know when the line is because people often will treat it as a joke even when it's clearly not a joke. Yeah, you know, it's like
Where are you at with it?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I think
know.
I don't gamble.
No.
Nah.
We're recording.
No, I
we're
don't,
recording video this time.
Last time I went on the pokies was over Christmas, as a joke.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm not like.
When will you know if it's gripped you or
you
not?
won't catch me dead at the fucking. Well,
I got a mate.
To me, it comes along with if I'm drinking with a bunch of mates and there's a pokies there and some other friends are going in, chuck a 20, you know. But like, it's objectively like I view it just as burning money. You know, it's the same.
Oh, for sure.
It's the same. Like I don't know, if you go out drinking, you know you're gonna burn like a bunch of money. Just like
Going to the strippers.
buy
is
fast
worse.
food. The strippers is way worse than the pokies.
Way worse.
At least the pokies, you get a chance of getting something back.
So true.
Strippers is just like
It is like flushing money down the toilet.
it literally is. Like you may as well set it on fire.
Yeah.
It's like
More legal advice from Sean Collier.
yeah. If you're choosing between the strippers or the pokies, choose the pokies.
I love that.
That's my legal opinion.
I've got this mate, right? Well, actually, we're not mates anymore. We've drifted apart too far. And anyway, he was a dead set alco. I didn't realize it at first. It just started getting worse over time. And one day I was at his place, and he was like, "I hope I'm not an alcoholic." And I was like, "Bro, it's too late. You're already there." Like, I think he was like, "I hope I never become an alcoholic." I was like, "Is someone going to
How
break
old
it
was
to
he
him?"
when he said that?
31.
See, it's a difficult one because it's like when you're 21, everyone's an alcoholic because that's just you're socializing so much usually that's you know. But when you're like 31, it's like if you're drinking like fucking 4 nights a week or something like
Every night.
yeah,
And
or
like
you're a booze hag from now.
6 beers.
I mean, 6 beers is pretty humble, but you know,
Every night.
yeah, every night that adds up.
What's that? 42 beers a week.
Yeah,
And that's not you. That's your chill. That's chill.
I mean
That's not your bender.
that's the thing about beers though is you can do that. Like my dad can do that.
6 beers a day.
Yeah,
is
you get a bit of a buzz on, pass out, wake up with a slight headache, skull some water, back to it.
That's half a beer for me now. At 40, that's
Yeah,
like
but
I have one beer.
you get less hungover the more you drink. You know, so if you're drinking 6 beers a night, that's just normal. You don't even feel it.
That is a good hack. That's a good life hack. You're full of life hacks and tips.
Yeah, thank you, man of culture.
That's what I've worked out. Well, you know, like so you got nowhere to go, nowhere to be. Let's just keep this rolling until the break of dawn, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's do a podathon.
Podathon.
Hey.
Gonna get some good clips.
Yeah, this this has been fun, man. I really enjoyed this. Thanks, Nina, for what were those snacks called?
Bro, it was so you know a pitted date.
Pitted, yeah, pitted date, yeah. That,
You pull the like pip thing out,
yeah.
fill it with peanut butter.
What's
and
it
then,
called though?
I don't know.
It's got
just
like
like
a name.
Bro, literally, she just made it. But it's like it's
Where did
just
she
a
come
date.
up with this genius
It's
idea?
a date, peanut butter on the
Come.
inside, and then like some just dark chocolate that's
Just
been
dipped in.
melted and dipped, and then like put in the fridge.
Frozen. Yeah.
Simplest thing ever. It's fucking delicious and it's healthy.
That's so good.
It's so good because like for me,
Gotta have a name.
whenever I eat food, I like especially dinner. I always want like a sweet treat afterwards.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
me
like
too,
you
me
don't want
too.
to get like a fucking ice cream or something because it's but it's like these things. It satisfies that urge.
Why don't you want to get ice cream? Am I
It's
missing
bad
something
for
here? Bro, can you not?
Right.
Can you not? That's like me calling it
Have
butch.
you heard about like when you put baked beans on ice cream?
That's worse than me calling kombucha butch before.
Saying ice cream's bad for you.
Ice cream's bad for you. After
Again,
all the
alright.
stuff we've been talking about.
We're disagreeing again about objectivity.
Hey, there's one thing I'm learning is that
No.
you're always right.
I am. We always love ice cream. Everyone loves ice cream, but
Yeah.
you don't want to be eating that shit every day.
Yeah. I go through a lot of ice cream. My favorite thing to do was get that. What's that ice cream called where it's got the 3 flavors? Chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla.
Oh,
And that one, the big tub?
Yeah.
Like the 2-liter tub.
Yeah.
I would smash. Like in one sitting, I'd smash the entire tub. I had a problem.
Yeah, that's like eating disorder level.
Yeah, I had it.
Sure, though.
That was back when I had a
I know.
very fast metabolism.
I know how you keep the pounds off, mate.
No, that was in my 20s, man. I don't do that anymore.
I get a pot belly if I do that once.
Well, I'm impressed with your level of fitness, I got to say. I don't know how you're getting so jacked.
When you drink
behind the
lots,
scenes.
when you stop drinking, it's like steroids. That's another life hack,
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Like, nothing puts on. Look, how old are you now?
27 in like a month.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're not even there yet, bro. When you get to your 30s, every beer you have is going to be very hard to take off.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
I've heard that. Low carb, mate. My old man switched to low carb beers. He dropped like 14 kilos.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He
I
drinks
didn't
a
think
lot
they
of
were
fucking
that
beer,
effective.
though. Yeah.
He's just made up
It's
for
like
it.
the majority of his nutrition comes from beer. So it's quite a major dietary change for him. but yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. What else we got to talk about? Are we? Yeah.
I don't know.
I just brought you here to just chat some shit with me in the laneway.
Yeah, I can't.
You're good for that though.
Nah, sure.
Are you doing any other? Like you told me last year, you were thinking about doing a podcast. What the hell's
Yeah,
that going?
bro. Actually, so I was having a chat with a comedian. Do you know Henry Yan?
Henry Young.
He's a comedian. He's a great comedian.
Yeah.
I
I think
I was-
someone mentioned him to me.
was having
recently.
a chat with him. We were talking about like the sort of the content thing of like
Yeah.
needing to make some sort of content if you want to build an audience, but at the same time like not wanting to just be like making like hack shit that you're not really invested in.
Yeah.
And I think like I don't know, my particular like skills and interests align quite well with like the podcasting form, you know, more so than like trying to act or like do that sort of shit, like writing and talking. It's
like doing sketches.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm leaning more towards doing that. And yeah, my brother's got like all this expensive camera equipment and shit, so I'm probably just gonna like
Really?
steal it
Nice.
off him. Hold me to it. I'll
Your
start
brother, does
a
he
fucking.
live here?
But it's also like
He does,
yeah,
doesn't he?
he's in Bali at the moment, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I don't know. The reason I've been hesitating is because like I don't want to just make like one episode and then sort of fuck about and not like if I start one, I'm gonna be doing like what you're doing. Like trying to do like one a week at least. And it's like
Bro,
I already have a pretty big
kiss your
workload.
life goodbye.
Yeah, so I'm like fuck. It's a pretty major commitment, but it's also like you got to do it. You got to do something.
Honestly, people have no idea how much work this is.
Yeah.
Because this is fun. When we do this,
See, I do have an idea, which is why
Well,
I
that's
haven't
great.
done it yet.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, there's a reason why most podcasts just end. you
Yeah.
know. And at some point,
They
this
usually
one
end before
probably
10
will
episodes.
too. Oh wow, I'm getting to 60, baby.
Yeah, I think-
61,
Bro,
baby.
there's some crazy stats about it. It's like if you make it to the first 20 episodes, you're in the top like 2% of all podcasts ever. Because it's like most never make it to episode 20, which is pretty like, yeah. So you're killing it.
Killing it. Well, I appreciate that.
By the time you're at 100, fuck knows, who knows where.
100. Okay, so if I achieve my goal of 40 this year,
You'll be at 100.
no, I'll be just shy. I'll be in the 90s. I'll be at 94.
Yeah.
94. by the end of the year.
Well, Mr. Beast said, he said that like the first 100 videos you put out, you won't even start to have an audience until you put out like 100. So
Interesting.
if you keep doing what you're doing, I reckon by the time you're at 150, you'll probably have a pretty big fucking following.
Oh, I like the idea of it. But you know, like the other thing is that I like what I'm doing as well, and so like I can imagine if you're like a YouTuber of some sort, you maybe go down the track, you want to make cat videos, but you're more of a dog man. Let's just put it that way. You want to make cat videos because you think they're popular.
Yeah.
At some point, you might build an audience, but you're doing something that you dislike.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're going to be like, well, I either got to keep doing this thing I dislike because money's coming in, or I just stop.
Yeah.
I don't think like the way I'm doing this with you now, I could just keep doing this forever.
Yeah. And that's, you got to watch out for like audience capture, especially people in like this political sphere. You know, it's like, that's a real common problem is like people will build an audience, like say they put out like one left-wing opinion or whatever, and then they get a bunch of like people supporting it, and they build a bit of a following from there, and they're like, oh fuck, like now all my opinions have to align with this, otherwise I'm going to lose this audience which I've monetized, you know?
Yeah.
And that's sort of the reason I am leaning towards like starting to do like writing and shit as well, and like putting that out, is because I don't want to just do comedy. I don't want to be like solely, because I'm like a pretty serious person a lot of the time. You know,
You've
I'm
got
not
a serious face on right now as you're saying that.
But like, you know, like I don't know, a lot of comedians, especially if you're just putting out comedy, people just like the moment you try to do anything else or have an opinion on anything else or whatever, people are just like, ugh, shut up, just be funny.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
it's like fucking.
I said that about.
I mean, sometimes it's valid.
I
thing
said
to say.
that about that one comedian that I won't name because it's not fair for me to do that.
Like an Aussie comedian.
I don't want to throw shade on someone.
No, but sometimes it is valid.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
is this comedy? Because this whole set kind of feels like political
clap
ideology
comedy.
and opinions.
Bro, there's nothing I despise more than when someone markets what they're doing as comedy, and their intention is to just like have people listen to them like rant about fucking politics or whatever. Because it's like no one would, if you tried to be a political commentator, no one would pay attention to you.
Yeah.
And so you masquerading as a comedian to get attention.
Yeah.
And then you just use it to like be an ideologue. It's,
Yeah.
despicable. It's like if you're marketing any shit as comedy, you need to be getting fucking laughs.
100.
Otherwise, it's not comedy. Yeah.
Look, it gets
Gotta be
laughs, but from a very
Clap laughs. They don't count.
yeah.
If you say like people that don't like abortion are stupid, and people are like it's not. You know, that's a clap laugh. That's not a proper laugh. People are like feel obliged to laugh because they agree with your political sentiment.
They don't want to be the one person in the crowd that's not clapping in case someone's like,
Yeah.
oh, what?
But it's not funny. It's not like
Yeah.
you know. Not all laughs are created equal. You know, and you can
I like that.
really tell when you get like a proper laugh.
Not all laughs are
like
created
an
equal.
accidental laugh. Like people weren't planning on laughing, and they actually laugh out loud. They're really hard to get, but it feels so good. Yeah. And it's like you should be aiming for as many of those as possible, in my opinion.
That was one of my favorite things about our first episode we did together was when you told the story about the first time you tried stand-up, and like you were telling some jokes about like you had to work. I had to try working the other day or something like that, and people just laughed, and you got this rush. I was like, that was a memorable moment.
You never know what's going to be memorable.
Yeah. Well, that was
that was a memorable moment for me.
Yeah.
The actual
the actual thing.
experience.
But for me on this podcast was like, that's fucking cool that you just took this risk and did this thing and got this rush. I bet you weren't expecting that.
Nah. Well,
Is it still a rush? Like, yeah.
Well, because so it's not a rush if it's material that's tried and tested.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
for
Oh,
example,
you know the laugh's coming.
Yeah. But like the other night, like last night actually, I did some brand new shit, and one of the jokes went really well, got a massive laugh.
Really?
Like a brand new one. That's a rush.
Bang.
Yeah, that's like when you're the process of like having an abstract thought in your day-to-day life, writing it down, thinking about how to articulate it, then actually performing it, and then people laugh. That is so validating and satisfying. That will never stop being satisfying. That's why comedy's so addictive, because like it's constantly like reinforcement from other humans on Earth that you're not insane and that like your ideas have merit.
Or at least they're funny as hell.
Yeah.
They make me wet my pants.
Yeah, it's
Your ideas are sound. Yeah.
doing stand-up without getting laughs is like an insane. It feels like you're it feels like you're going crazy. It's like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
It's like you're listening to like your internal monologue
Ooh.
speak out in person, and no one's laughing. It's but it's the opposite. It's like you feel
I think I have this fear of that.
yeah.
Like I would.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But when you're connecting, no feeling better.
Yeah.
You know.
I think I told this story once to Stephen Bradshaw. I was like, well, people used to laugh at things I would say at uni. Like I'd be presenting a short film or something. I'd have to walk up to the top of the room, front of the room, talk to the audience who was my classmates and stuff, and tell them about my film review or whatever it is. And people would start laughing at stuff that I had written down as a serious line.
Yeah.
Like they'd just erupt in laughter. And I was like, that's not good, because that's not the reaction I wanted from that experience. And I feel like, let's just say I went to try and do stand-up, I reckon it would be the opposite. It's that I would be writing material that I think is funny and no one would laugh. And I'm like, yeah, better not do that.
It's a huge.
Props not do that.
I mean, there's a huge element of
Because people have asked me.
timing and delivery as well. So it's like you can say shit that's objectively not funny. Like if you read it, it wouldn't be even humorous at all. But the way it's performed makes it hilarious. You know, I'm not that type of comedian. Like, if my content's not funny, people don't laugh because I'm not like my stage persona is not like likable. Like, it's that people aren't just like, oh, look at this guy. It's like people don't want to like me. And so the material has to work or I'm fucked. But like I know a lot of like character comedians that get like that, they get laughs in between what they're saying because people are just like cracking up at their demeanor.
It's just who they are. Who's that? There's a funny as hell Kiwi guy with the frizzy hair.
Ray O'Leary.
Oh,
He's so good, eh? I had fucking coffee with him the other day.
did ya? Bro, I saw him at the Comics Lounge one night. I pissed myself.
Yeah, he's fucking hilarious.
He's very good.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is that whole like persona.
Yeah.
Like, what's he like?
Bro, he's normal as dude.
Is he?
Yeah. It's weird. When I first met him, I was like, what the fuck? Because he was like, you expect him to be like spastic, from his stage persona, but he's like just a real like intelligent, like chill, well-spoken guy that's got completely normal social skills.
So he puts on this character.
Yeah, fully.
That's a gift, man.
Yeah.
To do it that well.
I mean, but it's
because I agree. I agree with you. Sorry to cut you off, but I agree with you. Like I thought that was him.
Yeah. Well, the character's so fit, but I mean, the character's it's like an exaggerated version of like one aspect of his personality. I feel like most characters are like, it's not like completely different to him, but he's just exaggerating one side of his personality because it works really well on stage.
Yeah.
And that's like most good character comedians are like that. They're a little bit that way, and they just massively exaggerate it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I love it, man. We're about to lose in the on light. I'm flashing at 1% down there.
Sure.
We might need to close this one out.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I
Got
got
a
a pretty
bum?
sore ass
Yeah.
from this fucking.
Well,
seat,
how about
mate.
the chairs are better? The chairs are
Are
way
they?
better than before.
Yeah,
Remember that
yeah.
little fold-out thing that I had?
Yeah.
Joe White, episode 49 for everyone to catch. Joe White said to me, well, he wasn't the first to complain. He was the last. Because everyone else complained, right? Joe White goes, Louis, I want to introduce you to some people because I think what you're doing here is rad. And I know some people in show business that would love to do this with you, but you've got to get rid of these chairs.
Yeah.
And mind you, like my ass is
Shout
sore
out
too.
Joe White. My ass is grateful.
my ass is sore too, but he was like the fifth person that was like, oh yeah, fuck it, like enough's enough with these chairs. I was like, fine. So I got these ones instead. So
Yeah.
this was for you, Joe, which means Joe needs to come back to experience the chair.
I think he'll
But-
probably be vaguely disappointed. Still pretty sore.
We've been 2 hours sitting
nah,
here for 2
you
hours.
said anywhere for 2 hours, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been good to see you, man. It's been great to have you on again. I'm looking forward to seeing you back at the Comedy Festival this year doing your split show with Igor. What's the handles?
The show's going to be called How to Give Up and Get On It. You can look it up on the Comedy Fest website. Otherwise, my Instagram handle's self-loathing hedonist, or just Sean Collier on YouTube, SEAN.
Nice. Are you on YouTube?
Oh, I've got a few clips.
Nice.
There'll be more coming though.
I'll have
Rest
to
assured.
suss it.
Special coming out this year.
Nice. I'm proud of the work that you've been doing, man.
Sure, I'm
know,
proud
like-
of the work you're doing, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah. After our first recording last year, you and I went to the pub and had like a bit of a D&M about life and stuff. I told you about my dad and everything and Venezuela and all that, and I was like, yeah, I'm invested in the S. Collier journey, Like, I'm invested. I want to see where you take this. I'm glad to see that you're committed to it and that you're like pushing the boundaries, because, you know, like sometimes you meet people and it's just a phase and they sort of, you don't know where they're at with it, but you seem to be hustling and I love it. Like a viral clip since we last caught up.
Yeah, sure.
Sick.
Yeah, lots more work to do.
Yeah, nice one, man.
But like, what the fuck else is there to do?
Yeah, that's a good way to close this one out. Well, thanks for coming back, man. I love
My
your
pleasure.
work.
Cheers, man.
Woo! Yeah, nice.